Hi guys, so this is a little how to crow pose video. This is a nice, fun but difficult, challenging posture for you guys to try at home. I get a lot of people ask me about little kind of tips and tricks that you want to look out for this, so hopefully this helps you guys at home try it as well. We're just going to start off by warming up the wrists, open up the hips a little bit, and then we'll get onto it. Crow pose is a really good like prep pose for handstand stuff as well, so you get to train up your wrists, train your balance, ready for when you start taking it up into your handstand, but without actually having to like engage and stay nice and straight. So yeah, yay, awesome. So we're just going to start off on your knees, hands shoulder width apart. For warming up the wrist, this is like my go-to wrist warm up for handstands and crow. Start off with your hips on your heels, hands in front of your knees, and just gently start to rock forwards and backwards. And I'm really focusing on pushing this index finger knuckle down into the ground. Awesome guys. And then side to side. And again, the reason why I keep my hips back is because I can control the weight. So the more I lift my hips over my knees, the more weight is on my wrist. So you can just control that depending on how warm and how okay your wrists are feeling today. And then fingers coming back towards you, forwards and backwards. Again, if this feels really disgusting, just check that you're not all the way out here. Fingers closer to your knees. It's going to help. And then turning inwards, sideways, side to side. And then give them a little flick and a shake off. Feel like you need a little bit more warming up, you guys can do that. From here then, we're just going to stretch out the hips a little bit because it really helps. So you're going to come standing, feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed out 45 degrees. And we're just going to do some little sumo squats. So we're going to think about lifting, squeezing the glute nice and tall, and then exhale, sitting back. So you think about sitting backwards first, keeping the chest lifted, and coming all the way down and up. Go up and down. Awesome guys. So from here, you're going to bring your feet together. You're going to kind of come into like a little, like a penguin-y type position. So your toes, heels together, toes are out. And then from here, you're going to squat down just like we just were, opening the knees and coming down. And just get that little bit of balance there. From here, we're going to start to bring ourselves into that position. So hands are going to come about shoulder width, or even just a little bit wider than that, for the purpose of what tends to happen is people bring them too close together, their elbow pits face inwards, and then their elbows collapse out like this, and we want to avoid that at all costs because that's not going to be the strong position. So hands go a little bit wider, and you're really focusing on those elbow pits facing forward, so facing the same way as your middle finger. From here, you're going to bend at the elbow, and the inside where you kind of like, it meets here, where your thigh and your shin and your calf meet here, that's where your tricep is going to go. So the back of your arm here wants to be on that, and that's your shelf. So from this position, we think about getting the elbows as close as you can inside your knees as possible. From here, you're going to think about leaning forwards until your elbows go over your wrists. So from that position, my heels are together, I'm on my toes, my knees are nice and wide, and my elbows are on the inside. My hands are going to come down, and then from here, I'm just going to start to lean forwards and get my elbows over my wrists. So right now, it's kind of like shoulders over wrists and elbows back. And I'm going to keep going forwards until your elbows go over your wrists. And what I'm really thinking about doing is pushing that big index finger knuckle really down into the ground. Okay, so that's the kind of motion that we're thinking. Forwards. Now if this feels really weird, or if you do feel like you're naturally collapsing out with the arms here, maybe if you're hyperextended, I always say middle fingers parallel, but if that's happening, do index finger parallel. And what this does is it just helps to externally rotate that little bit, but it still means that you've got this widest point here to balance forwards and backwards. So you don't want to turn them out completely. So you're either having middle fingers parallel or index fingers parallel. Just spread your fingers really nice and wide. See, a lot of people do this as well, and you're not getting the greatest range of support, the greatest base to cover on the floor. So either middle fingers parallel or index fingers parallel. Okay, once we know that we can roll forwards and keep our elbows over our wrists and they're not starting to weigh outwards, we're going to start thinking about getting the hips up really nice and high. And this is a little trick that a lot of people struggle with or don't realise at first. So from this position, hips up, and then you're doing that little rock forwards. And you should start to feel a lot of weight come onto your elbows. Now again, if you're already starting to slide off and feeling really unsteady, just hold it there. We're not worried about, if you just keep flinging your feet off the ground and just collapsing, you're not learning anything through that process. So it's better to take it slowly and bring the feet off the ground later on than it is to kind of rush into it, because it's a balance again. You can't rush in a balance. So from this position, bringing it up, rocking forwards. From here, if this is going okay, I'm going to think about coming onto the tiptoes, so the very tiptoes. And then maybe bringing one foot off the ground and then the other. Now I'm not jumping and I'm not trying to use the push of my foot off the ground to take myself further over. You should already be far enough over to be able to lift your foot off the ground, and this is where you have to find that balance point. So from here, if you've come to here and you lift your foot up and you lift that foot up and you fall backwards, you've not quite gone far enough. So at first it might be more like a oh, down straight away. Then you might find that you do like a little pause and then a shift back, which means you were nearly there but not quite enough to hold it, and you have to go a little bit further forwards than you initially want to go, because you really feel like you're going to like smack yourself in the face and fall on the floor. So if that's the thing, a couple of cushions in front of your face, think about the trajectory. So quite often you kind of see people put like cushions there because that's where you're looking down, but your head would go past it, so have it a little bit further than you probably think as well. So then when we've gone far enough, now I know I'm really pushing into my fingertips. That's how I know I've gone far enough. If I've not gone far enough, all the weight's still here. I want to feel the weight in my fingertips. So as I get over and pushing into my fingertips, I can lift my feet off and stay there. And just like your handstand, what you're actually doing is you're rocking forwards and you're pushing yourself back up to centre and then falling back towards your fingertips. Pushing yourself back up to centre, falling back towards your fingertips. You're not just holding, or you very rarely just happen to catch the balance. It's not how it works. You're falling, that movement gets smaller and smaller. And when you've totally mastered that, amazing. I would recommend falling forwards onto your face in this a couple of times, because you'll get over that fear. If you never experience that fall, you'll make it so much worse than it is in your head. So from here, just practice like kind of coming down and then see if you can kind of push back up again without just collapsing out of it. So that's your little training thing. Then you can start to look into going up into your headstand and stuff from that, which I'll do a separate video on. And then again, to progress it, for those of you who are absolutely fucking beasting this, when you get into your crow position, I want you to think about bending your arms and bringing your head down lower, or straighten your arms and bringing your head up, but without falling. So we're practicing moving in that position. Yeah? Boom. Hope that makes sense, guys. If your wrists are feeling a little bit funny, wrists go behind the knees, squat down until your fingers like can't straighten, and it just compresses the area a little bit and helps get a little bit of blood flow. Hold for about 12 to 15 seconds. Doesn't work indefinitely, but it's my go-to thing for when your wrists are feeling a little bit funny in handstand and core practice. So I hope that helps, guys. If you want any clarification, feel free to comment or any questions. And yeah, good luck on your core journey.